Okay. Uh, so in previous lecture we have derived torque equation of switch reluctance motor. Okay. Now next point is the power converter circuits of SRM. So as in first or second lecture, as I have already explained, in SRM again working is similar to the variable reluctance motor. Therefore, at every time we have to excite a one particular phase. Okay, that means we excite one phase at a time so that that phase get energized. After the particular degree rotation of that motor, or after certain degree rotation of the rotor, second phase will get energized, so the first phase will get de-energized. So in simultaneously there will be energization of respective phases. Okay, so say if motor is suppose 4-phase motor, that means that consists total 4 phases on stator. So initially we excite suppose a phase A, and we consider the motor is under the equilibrium condition. Then if you have to rotate that particular motor, switch reluctance motor, that means rotor of that motor with certain degree, we have to excite phase B. At the same time, when we excite phase B, the phase A will be demagnetized. Okay. Again, once we excite phase B, motor will rotate with the certain degree either in clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. That depends upon the sequence how we excite that phases. After that particular rotation of the rotor, suppose we have to rotate that rotor further, what we do, we switch off phase B excitation, we switch on phase C excitation, so that motor will rotates forward again by step angle of say whatever, that depends upon the number of phases and number of rotor teeth. Again if you have to rotate that motor forward, again we switch off phase C, we excite phase D, so that switching of particular phases is continuous, say A B C D A B C D. So if that gives forward rotation, if you have to require backward rotation, we excite that phases at A D C B and so on. Okay, so that means simply we reverse the switching sequence. Now how we excite that particular phases? So if we recall the simple switching circuit of switch reluctance motor or variable reluctance motor, in every phase, that means in series with every stator phase, there is a one power converter device. Okay, that device, or there is a one power switch, simple power switching device. That device may be IGBT, that device may be SCR, that may be MOSFET, depending upon the current capacity of that particular stator winding. Okay, so there is a simple one switching device, and we excite that switching device, or we simply turn on that switching device as per our requirement. तो वहाँ पे क्या किया जाता है, जो स्विचिंग डिवाइस है उसका टर्निंग ऑफ और टर्निंग ऑन किया जाता है. Once we turn on that switching device, the corresponding phase get excited. When we turn off that switching device, corresponding phase get de-excitation, that means it gets demagnetized. Okay, and in same way there are certain switching devices. Okay, now depending upon these particular switching devices, that switching devices, whenever we combinedly say that 3-phase motor is there, then again there are certain 3 switching devices, that may be 6 switching devices, that depends upon various power converter topology. So in simple, that switching devices are generally termed as a power converter circuits. Okay, so what are the different power converter circuits are possible in case of switch reluctance motor? So basically in recent era of semiconductor development, or in recent era of the power semiconductor technological developments, now large number of switching devices have been established. Okay, so that switching devices are generally consist simple the switching circuit, means switching device which is nothing but either transistor, IGBT, MOSFETs, that may be SCRs, that depends upon current capacity. It consists the gate driver circuit of that particular MOSFET or that particular switching device. When we talk about MOSFETs, IGBTs and SCRs, there is a one gate terminal, and whatever switching action of that device generally controls through that gate terminal. So suppose if when we consider example of SCR, so whenever we have to switch on that SCR, at that time what we do, we apply gate pulse. Okay, so I think you have learned that different power electronics devices in semester 4. So simply we apply one gate pulse, and that gate pulse is generally applied through gate circuit of or gate terminal of that device. Okay, so to apply that gate pulse we require certain gate driver circuits. Okay, so that gate driver circuits, when initiates the gate pulse, at that time corresponding switching device will get turned on. Once that switching device will get turned on, at that time corresponding phase will get energized, and so on. Okay, So these switching devices along with its gate driver circuits are combinedly termed as a power converter circuits in case of switch reluctance motor. So number of power converter circuits have been developed now, but there are frequently using power converter circuits are there, and that's some of the power converter circuits which we are going to discuss in this particular lecture. Okay, so short note may be asked for 10 mark. Draw and explain different power converter circuits used for switch reluctance motor. Okay, so if that 10 mark short note is there, you have to explain 3 to 4 switching circuits, because very short explanation is there. So you can explain minimum 3 switching circuits for that 10 mark short note. Okay, now I have explained necessity of this switching device. So in simple, switching devices or switching converter circuits are required to turn on the particular stator phase. Okay, so whatever phase which we have to excite, to turn on that stator phase we require certain switching circuits or switching converter circuits, or you can simply say that power converter circuits. So what are the different requirements which has to be satisfy that power converter circuits?
मला
Yes.
एक माझा मित्र आहे कुठे तो आपलं MIT नाही तो कुठचं आहे रे मणिपालला किती फीज असेल 4 लाख
Okay, sorry. Yes. So there are certain requirements of these power converter circuits. So what are the requirements? The first important requirement is each phase of SRM should be excited independently, because if you recall working of switch reluctance motor, then we have to excite one phase at a time. Okay, at any particular time instant only one phase is under excitation mode, remaining all phases are under de-energized condition. So whatever switching converter circuit or power converter circuit which we use, that power converter circuit must be capable of exciting one phase at a time. Okay, so that is the first important requirement. If there is a simultaneous excitation of two phases takes place, then definitely that will affect on step angle, or we can say that whatever, suppose 15-degree rotation or 15-degree step angle is desired after independent phase excitation, and if we simultaneously excite two phases, might be that particular rotor rotates with 7.5 degree and so on. Okay, we have discussed that different excitation circuits or excitation sequences for variable reluctance stepper motor. Okay, that is one phase excitation or single phase excitation, the two phase excitation, 2 1 phase excitation. So if we simply excite two phases at a time, V excite means what? If that power converter circuit switch on two phases at a time, that will definitely affects on the degree by which that rotor will rotates. Okay, and that will definitely affects on that step angle. So for SRM, whatever power converter circuit which we are going to use, that power converter circuit should be capable of exciting each phase independently. That is the first requirement. Second requirement is an excited pole should be demagnetized before the entry of SRM into generating mode. So whatever phase which is excited, once that phase which is excited, definitely there will be rotation of rotor takes place. Once that rotor will rotates with the full step angle, at that time that pole must be demagnetized, otherwise SRM enters into generating mode. So that is the second requirement of power converter circuit. Third requirement is, now I think in power electronics devices and circuits you have learned concept of stored energy. Stator windings are made up, stator is made up of different phase windings. So whenever that phase winding carries current, that phase winding possesses certain inductance, and inductance has capability of stored energy in terms of magnetic field. So there is a certain amount of energy gets stored inside the stator phase whenever that phase winding is under excitation. So जब हम stator का कोई भी phase winding excite करते हैं तो उसमें क्या रहेगा, कुछ amount of energy stored रहेगा. If that energy is stored, then whenever that particular phase is demagnetized, we have to simply remove that stored energy from particular stator phase, and this is generally carried out by freewheeling circuit. Okay, I think in PEDC you have heard freewheeling circuit, freewheeling diode. Okay, so freewheeling diode is generally connected in parallel with your switching device, so that once that switching device get turned off, stored energy fed back to supply through that freewheeling diode. Okay, so such kind of freewheeling should be achieved during chopping period. Okay, so during chopping period of that power converter circuit, there should be freewheeling of stored energy, and for that purpose we have to use a certain freewheeling diodes in a power converter circuit. So that is the third important requirement of SRM, because that means there should not be any stored energy in stator phases. If there is a stored energy, that will definitely affects on the motion of rotor or movement of rotor. So to avoid this false movement of rotor, simply we have to feed back that stored energy to supply whenever a certain phase is under de-energized condition. So phase A de-energized है, तो phase A वाइंडिंग में जो भी कुछ stored energy रहेगा वो क्या करना है, आपको फ्री व्हील करना है सप्लाई को, and for that purpose there should be certain freewheeling circuit exist in a power converter circuitry. So that is the third requirement. Fourth important requirement is the demagnetization energy should be feedback to the source for using in a subsequent conducting zone. So whatever demagnetizing energy of a stator winding is there, that energy should be feedback to a source during a freewheeling of a stage or freewheeling purpose or under the chopping period. And the fifth one is whatever circuit which we are going to design for the excitation of stator, that should be cost effective. Okay, so these are the certain requirements that should be followed or that should be completed by the power converter circuit which we are going to design for the excitation of switch reluctance motor. Okay, now what are the different converter circuits which are used frequently? So total 5 converter circuits are there which are frequently used in excitation of SRM. So the first converter circuit is a 2 switching devices per phase. Okay, so the first converter circuit is we use a 2 switching devices per phase. Now name itself suggests 2 switching devices. That means for excitation of one phase there are 2 switching devices. So if suppose switch reluctance motor is of 3 phase, then how many switching devices required? We require total 6 switching devices. Each phase requires 2 switching devices. So 3 phase motor requires 6 switching devices. Okay. So now if you look towards this particular circuit diagram, power converter circuit for 3 phase SRM, we consider 3 phase SRM. So 3 phases, phase A, phase B and phase C, these 3 phases are there which are represent stator phases. Now actually this, for sake of simplicity here, stator phase is shown with a single winding, but actually there are 2 coils. You are now familiar with the construction. Every stator phase consists 2 coils. That 2 coils are diametrically placed opposite on stator poles and that are connected in series. Okay, so for sake of simplicity only here the coils are represented with a single coil. So say this is the phase A, phase B and phase C. In series with every phase we use a 2 switching circuits or 2 switching devices. So T1 and T2, these two are, now this is symbol for IGBT. Okay, so this is the IGBT, power IGBT, and this power IGBT is used to excite, T1, T2 is used to excite phase A. Similarly T3, T4 is excite to phase B. T5, T6, these 2 switching devices or power IGBTs are used to excite phase C. So that IGBTs or 6 IGBTs are used to excite a stator winding. So that will complete your first and second requirement. Now third requirement is also there. We require certain freewheeling circuits, so that whatever energy which is stored inside that stator winding, that energy get fed back during chopping period. Chopping period के वक्त जो भी कुछ energy stored है वो energy आपको supply को fed back करना है. For that purpose we require certain freewheeling circuit, and a simple cost effective freewheeling circuit is freewheeling diode. Simply we connect a diode in parallel with a particular switch, so that, or particular winding, so that that will act as a freewheeling circuits. Okay, so for each phase we use a 2 diodes as a freewheeling diode. So if you look towards this particular power converter circuit, it consists total 6 switching devices and 6 diodes. That 6 diodes are acts as a freewheeling diodes, and 6 switching devices. Each phase requires 2 switching devices. So similarly for 3 phase machine we require 6 devices. So in 3 phase SRM we use a 6 semiconductor switches along with 6 diodes. Diodes are provided for a freewheeling purpose. Now the circuit using 6 IGBT as a switching device and 6 diodes as a freewheeling diode is as shown in figure. Now if you look towards say phase A is switch on whenever T1 and T2 are switched on. When we switch on T1 and T2, what will happen? That circuit will get complete through this T1 and T2, and that will excite phase A. Okay, that will excite phase A. At that particular time, the motor will runs or motor rotor will rotates with a certain step angle, and that position of rotor is sensed because in first lecture itself I have told that SRM is a simple variable reluctance stepper motor, but that is work under closed loop condition. Closed loop condition means we have to, at every time we have to sense the position of rotor, and we have to fed that position of rotor as an input to switching circuit. Okay, so that are actually control strategies which we are going to discuss in our consequence lectures. Okay, so here whenever we excite this T1 and T2, at that time phase A is get energized, motor will rotates with the desired phase angle or desired step angle. Now whenever this T1 and T2 switch off, at that time we have to switch on T3 and T4. So when we switch on T3 and T4, what will happen? B phase get energized. At the same time T1 T2 are in switch off condition, so phase A get de-energized. There is no supply to phase A, but there is a certain amount of stored energy present in that phase A, and we have to feed back that stored energy to supply during freewheeling or during that freewheeling period or during chopping period. So this particular energy get freewheel through this diode D1 and D2. So this diode D2 and D1, this will supply or feed back that energy to supply during freewheeling period. Okay, so that red color indication circuit, that is actually chopping period circuit working of diode D1 and D2. Okay, so in this particular way, here T1 T2 are turned on for energizing phase A. We turn on T3 and T4 for energizing phase B. So whenever these devices are turned off, that will de-energize phase A, and under this particular condition the stored energy is fed back to supply through freewheeling diodes. Okay, now if you look towards this circuit, total 6 switching devices are used. Forget about that switching device, IGBTs are used. In simple, 6 IGBTs are used. Now out of that 6 IGBTs, the upper layer IGBTs or upper arm IGBTs T1, T3 and T5, this particular IGBTs off signal, that is switch off signal, is generally obtained from rotor position sensor. Okay, so out of 6 IGBTs, upper layer IGBTs 1, 3 and 5, that turn off signal, we have to turn off that particular IGBTs at a particular time. That means when that rotor will rotates with the desired step angle, at that time we have to turn off that IGBT so that the respective stator phase get de-energized. Okay, so ये जो turn off signal है, that turn off signal is received from rotor position sensor for upper leg IGBTs. For upper leg IGBTs 1, 3, 5, turn off signal is received from rotor position sensor, whereas for lower leg IGBTs, the turn off signal is generally received from the chopping frequency, whatever frequency which is required. I think in stepper motor we have learned that concepts, step angle, stepping frequency. So that stepping frequency signal is generally provided to lower leg IGBTs, upper leg IGBTs received signal from rotor position sensor. So this is about the first power converter circuit, which consists 2 switching devices per phase. Okay, so operation is very simple. If we have to excite a particular phases, whatever switching or whatever IGBTs which are there in series with that phases, initially we have to turn on that IGBTs. Once we turn on that IGBT, corresponding phase get energized. Once that phase get energized, rotor will rotates with the desired step angle. After that, once this cycle get complete, that means after rotation of that rotor with desired phase angle, what will happen? Suppose rotor rotates with the desired phase angle, rotor position sensors sends the position of that rotor to switch off this T1. Once T1 gets switch off, once T2 gets switch off, T2 switch off कैसे होगा? That depends upon the stepping frequency. So once these both IGBTs get turned off, At that time the freewheeling circuit get in actuation, that means whatever energy stored inside that stator that will fed back to supply through freewheeling diodes. At the same time second phase is under energization, that means we have to simply switch on T3 and T4 so that phase B get energized, rotor rotates with the next step angle in forward direction with a desired step angle. Again that T3 T4 gets switch off, whatever stored energy in phase B that will again fed back to supply through freewheeling diodes D3 and D4. Same condition is there for third phase. So in this way we can follow the particular sequence of rotation so that the SRM will rotate, or rotor of SRM will rotate either in forward direction or in backward direction. So for forward direction, say clockwise direction, if we consider as a forward direction, then the suppose sequence is T1 T2 or phase A, phase B, phase C. Then if you have to rotate that rotor in backward direction, that is in say anti-clockwise direction, we have to reverse that sequence. So A, then C, then B, A, C, B. So under that case we can operate or we can obtain the backward rotation of that rotor in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so have you understand this first switching circuit? Very simple. Okay, now second switching circuit consists n+1 switching devices and n+1 diodes. So this is the basic switching circuit which is used for turning off SRM, power converter circuit for SRM. Now the one important drawback of this first switching circuit, that is the two switching devices per phase, that drawback is we require large number of switching devices. So if number of switching devices increases, definitely there will be increment in cost. Again there is an increase in gate driver circuit. So again control strategies. Look, if we increase switching circuits, what will happen? Switching circuit increases, that means that number of gate driver circuit increases, number of rotor sensors which is required to sense the rotor position, that number of rotor sensors also increases. Okay, definitely that will increase cost. So to reduce this number of switching circuits, there is a development in power converter circuitry, and that will develop the second power converter circuit which consists n+1 switching devices with n+1 diode, where n is the number of stator phases. So if there are three number of stator phases, then here this type of power converter circuit consists total 4 switching circuits or 4 switching devices along with a 4 freewheeling diode. So there is a simply reduction in number of switching devices and number of freewheeling diode, and that will ultimately reduce the cost of that particular power converter circuit. So the second type of power converter circuit is actually cost effective, okay, than first type of power converter circuit. Okay, so now this circuit generally consists n+1 number of switching devices and n+1 number of freewheeling diodes, where n is the total number of stator phases which are there in circuit. So if n is equal to 3, if stator is 3-phase stator, at that time we require total 4 switching devices and 4 freewheeling diodes. So how that switching devices and diodes are connected to excite or to obtain actual power converter circuit. So this is actual connection diagram. So if you look towards this particular connection diagram, the upper arm consists only one switching device, whereas the lower arm consists total 3 switching devices. So the 2 switching devices which are present in upper arm of power converter circuit, now that switching devices have been removed, and this upper arm consists only one switching devices. Lower arm consists total 3 switching devices. Now you can simply explain, anyone can easily explain the switching sequence from this switching device. So here total 4 IGBTs are used, IGBT T, T1, T2 and T3. 4 diodes are used. One diode is marked with diode D, diode D1, diode D2 and diode D3. So these diodes are generally freewheeling diode. Now suppose we have to excite phase A of this power converter circuit, phase A of stator phase A. At that time, which 2 power converter circuits or power converter devices should be in turn on condition? We have to simply turn on T and T1. So when T and T1, these 2 switches are in on condition, 2 IGBTs are in on condition, phase A get excited. Okay, so ये जो 2 switches on रहेंगे So definitely phase A, this phase A get excited, rotor will rotates with the desired step angle. Now we have to excite a second phase, say phase B. At that time the turn off signal is only provided to T1. Turn off signal is only provided to T1. We have to only turn off T1. T should be under on condition in every switching time or for every switching period. This T should be in on condition. So T is in on condition, we have to simply turn off this T1. So at that time we are going to turn on T2. Okay, we are going to turn on T2. Okay, so now turn on T2. So if we turn on this T2, T is in on condition itself. Now under this case, as T1 is turned off, therefore the phase A get de-energized. Phase A get de-energized. At T2 is turned on, now the circuit will follow this particular path and phase B get energized. Phase B get energized. At the same time, whatever energy which is stored inside phase A, that energy should be free will to supply, or that should be fed back to supply. So that for this purpose, now diode D1 is in forward bias and diode D is in forward bias. Okay, so that energy get free will, which follows the path which I have drawn with the green color indication. So this is the freewheeling path. This is freewheeling path whenever phase A get de-energized. So stored energy is fed back to supply through this path which I have drawn with the green color line. Now say, suppose we have to now excite phase C. We have to excite phase C. At that time T is in on condition. So there, once we switch on that power converter circuit, only we have to provide turn off pulses to T1, T3 and T2. T1, T2, T3. T is always in on condition or under switch on condition. So if we have to excite phase C, we are going to turn off T2. If T2 get turned off, there is a open circuit exists in phase stator phase B. Stator phase B get de-energized. At the same time, we are going to turn on T3. Now if T3 get turned on, there will be flow of current in the direction or in the path which I have drawn with the blue color line, and phase C get energized. Phase C get energized. Okay. At the same time, phase B under de-energization condition. So whatever energy which is stored in phase B, that should be fed back to circuit, that is actually your chopping period. That should be fed back to supply through freewheeling circuit. So what is freewheeling circuit now? Under this case, D2 is in forward bias, D2 is in forward bias, and that energy will get free will through the path which I have drawn with red color line. Okay, this is okay, yes, or that will again free will through this stator winding, but generally the current take the minimum reluctance, minimum resistance path. So if that energy get, if this is second path, so there is a resistance of this winding present in this second path. Okay, so definitely maximum current will flow through the path which has the minimum resistance. Okay, so that freewheeling action takes place through diode D and diode D2. Now same sequence is there for further rotation of rotor. T is under on condition. After phase C, we have to excite phase A. So we are going to turn on T1. At the same time, we are going to turn off T3. Once we turn off T3, C phase get de-energized. At the same time, phase A get energized. So that will follow this particular path for current, and freewheeling path is through diode D3. Whatever energy which is stored over here to diode D3, that will fed back. Okay, sorry. That energy stored is back to supply. So that is freewheeling or a chopping period for phase C. So this is actual operation of your N+1 semiconductor device with N+1 diode. So if you read this particular explanation, same thing is there. So for exciting phase A, T and T1 are under turn on condition. When these turn off, when these particular phases get turned off, the stored energy is fed back to D and D1. T and T2 are used to switch off phase B. Similarly, T and T3 are used to switch on phase C. Now, what are the advantages? Advantages is, first important advantage is there is a reduction in cost. So, this particular circuit is cost effective because we use less number of switching devices as compared to the previous circuitry. Second one is freewheeling is easily possible, so that diode D is always in forward bias condition during chopping period, so freewheeling is easily possible. Then third one is voltage rating of all devices are equal to the supply voltage, which is relatively low. If you look towards the circuits, so every device is of a same voltage rating, and that voltage rating is equal to the supply voltage. Okay, and fourth one is efficiency is improved by feeding back the stored energy to supply. At every time we are going to supply the stored energy back to supply, and that will increase the efficiency. Now there are certain disadvantages. There are some torque ripple present in the operation of rotor. So whenever rotor rotates, that rotor supposed to handle certain torque ripples. And next one is the high switching stress for T, because T is always under on condition. Okay, every time IGBT T is under switch on condition, so that will simple exist, or there is a existence of high switching stress over this IGBT T. Now, say a third type of a power converter circuit is a converter circuit for SRM with a bifilar winding. Now, what is bifilar winding? So, bifilar winding is nothing but in bifilar winding, a stator winding is divided into two equal halves, and that two equal halves are present in such a way that there is a magnetic interlocking between that two windings, or that two windings are magnetically coupled. Okay, so if you look towards phase A winding is now divided into two identical windings, and that two identical windings are magnetically coupled with each other. I think you have learned this concept of magnetically coupled coil in ECA, electrical circuit analysis. Okay, you have solved some numericals also, magnetically coupled coil. So magnetically coupled coil means what? If out of two coils, if any one coil carries current, and if due to current flowing through first coil, if there is an induction of EMF in second coil, then we say that two coils are magnetically coupled. What is meaning of in simple? In simple, if suppose A and B coils are there, out of that, if that two coils are magnetically coupled, so in which condition we say that two coils are magnetically coupled? Out of that two coils, say if A coil carries current, and due to current flowing through coil A, if EMF induced in coil B, then under that case we say that coils are magnetically coupled. Example is transformer winding. Transformer winding is magnetically coupled because whenever primary is excited with supply, there is no any electrical connection. Due to current flowing through primary winding, there is an induction of EMF in secondary winding. So transformer is the best example of magnetically coupled inductive coils. Okay. Similarly here, a stator phase is divided into two identical magnetically coupled coils. In series with one coil, there is a switching device, and in second coil there is a freewheeling diode. Okay, here if you look, only one switching device is present in series with one coil. Second switching device is freewheeling diode is connected in series with a second identical coil. Okay, now working is same. Whenever we have to excite phase A, energize phase A, at that time we are going to turn on T1. When T1 get turned on, coil A carries current. When this coil A carries current, coil A dash have induced EMF due to magnetic coupling. So definitely EMF get induced inside coil B. That EMF will energize coil B. Coil A dash. When coil A carries current, coil A dash in coil A dash there will be induction of EMF due to magnetically coupling. So both A and A dash are now under magnetization condition or are energized. that will rotates rotor with a desired step angle. Whenever we have to excite this phase B, at that time we are going to turn on T2 and we are going to turn off T1. When we turn off T1, stored energy in phase A and A dash will fed back to supply through this diode D1. Stored energy is fed back to supply through diode D1 and that acts as a freewheeling path. When we turn on this T2, coil B get energized, coil B carries current that will induce EMF in B dash. So both B and B dash are under magnetization condition, rotor will again rotates further with a desired step angle. And in same way we have to follow switching sequence. Okay, so switching sequence is very easy for this converter circuit of SRM with a bifilar winding. Initially we have to turn on T1, coil A get energized. Due to current flowing through coil A, there is a induction of EMF in coil A dash, and as both coils are energized, rotor rotates with the desired step angle. For a further rotation of rotor, now turn on T2, turn off T1. When we turn on T2, turn off T1, at that time coil B get energized. That energization of coil B induced EMF in B dash because both are magnetically coupled. Rotor will again rotates with the desired step angle in either forward or backward direction. So for our said sequence ABC, rotor will say assume to rotate in forward direction. At the same time, whatever energy which is stored in coil A and A dash, that is for stator phase A, that will freewheel through diode D1. Again if we have to rotate rotor in further in forward direction, turn on T3, turn off T2. So if we turn on T3, C get energized, that will induce EMF in coil C dash because they are magnetically coupled. Rotor will again rotate further by a desired step angle in forward direction. At the same time, stored energy which is there in phase B, that will freewheel through diode D2. And in same way we follow switching sequence A, B, C for say forward direction, AC, B for say backward direction. Okay, so that is about third converter circuit of SRM, which consists the identical stator phases which are magnetically coupled. Okay. Now next two circuits are also there, so I am going to share this PDF on your Google Classroom. So go through these particular circuits. So that are again similar kind of circuit with their different connections. So these three circuits are enough. So remaining two circuits, split link circuit and a CDUM circuit. So you can go through that circuit. If there is any doubt related to this, you can ask that doubt in next lecture. Okay.